Try not to be too silly.
Today I am with Max Russell in his home studio. And Max, where are you originally from?
I'm from Tuscumbia, Alabama, Colbert County.
All right. Born and raised there?
Yep, I was born in Colbert County at the Helen Keller Hospital on August 31st, 1956.
All right. And graduated from class of what? High school?
Oh, yeah. I didn't graduate. I did my time. I got out of Deschler in 73.
Okay. And then music. How did you get into music?
Oh, I've always been, since a kid, been plunking around on the guitar, and my dad was a bit of a horse trader, and I can remember getting my first guitar out of a Super X drugstores. It was a classical style guitar, and I was about, I may have been 10 years old, something like that, 11 or 12. And but he always brought guitars home, and I remember having a little Mickey Mouse crank-up guitar when I was about 3 or so, 2 or 3. But yeah, about every week Daddy'd come in with a different guitar of some sort, and you know, where he worked down at Colbert Steam Plant, and he's always trading stuff. And I'd wake up one morning and the one that got the week before would be gone. He'd take it and trade it for something else. So, you know, I started playing then, and I took lessons from a guy that used to come by the house on his way. I found out later is on his way to the state line to play a gig, and took a lesson on Friday night from him. And wish I could remember his name right now. Allsbrooks, Johnny Allsbrooks. He's a good one. And now I've just been playing since, you know, on my own. And I didn't play in garage bands or high school bands or anything like that. I really didn't start doing putting bands together and stuff till I got into my mid-20s. I think I was about 25 before I ever actually started writing music and playing in bands. And well, you know, we used to have a practice room over in Tuscumbia, this old place where Coldwater Bookstore is at now. And used to jam with some friends there, and that was back in like, oh, that was about 77. After I moved off there at Phoenix, Arizona for a couple of years. After I'd gotten married, sold my guitar, didn't have a guitar the whole time I was out in Phoenix. So came back home one day and found a guitar in a yard sale, and picked it up, and I did that Johnny Cash lick, down, 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 down. And I've been playing ever since.
Okay. Playing now is much different than when you first started. What's the obvious differences to you?
I don't know what I'm doing, but I do it. I mean, I'm not having to. I do my thing. I write my own music, and what I do know, I just know it. I don't really like back then. You had to practice and all this stuff, and not that I'm beyond practicing or anything. I'm just too lazy to do it, pretty much, you know. And it's hard to get everybody together at one time. So, musicians I've been working with for the last 20 years, probably, you know. My bass player, I've been working with him for nearly 30 years off and on. But Terry Richardson, and he's kind of my right-hand man. So people like that, you know, make it a whole lot easier for me to work. And it is work to me now because that's my livelihood, what little I get, you know. It's I don't get too far from home. Stay around close by, you know, 3 or 4 hour drive maybe. But I'd like to get on a plane someday and go overseas and play some blues and play some of my music.
Okay. There's nothing stopping you.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of water and air. I've never been in an airplane.
You hadn't? Oh, no, I didn't know that. And tell us the other members of your band. Who's with you right now?
Well, Terry Richardson on a bass guitar, upright bass, and he's kind of I would call him my music director, because he tells the drummers I work with what to do. He knows all the changes and everything. Couldn't hardly do it without him. And my son, Kirk Russell, he plays drums and guitar with me, just depending on what, I guess what form the band takes on any given night when we play. Depending on the money, you know. anywhere from a duo, well I go for solo, to a 4-piece, 5-piece band sometimes. My son Kirk plays mandolin and tenor banjo, guitar, and drums. So the core of the band is myself and Terry and my son Kirk on drums, and that's for the electric kind of stuff. And then when I'm lucky, I put him on guitar, my son Kirk on guitar, and then I hire another drummer, and that's a lot of fun because we get to cut heads with on the guitars, you know. And then I do a thing, kind of a acoustic bluesgrass with Kirk on the tenor banjo and the mandolin, and Terry on the upright bass. And it's pretty much the same music, you know, just kind of acoustic up, you know, acoustic up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you got any recording plans?
Yeah, I've got some time slotted over at the Nut House, and I'm planning on going in pretty soon and doing this acoustic bluesgrass thing I've been telling you about. That's a lot of fun. And then we played out a number of times. We just did a show in Sheffield that David Johnson put on with John Anderson and Pirates of the Mississippi, was it?
Yeah. It's
one of those bands. And we did the bluesgrass thing there, and I had a lot of people come up and want to know where the CDs were at, and I didn't have any. So, and I've got 4 projects, albums, you know, on CD that I put out since 1999. The first one I did was with my son that was when he was like 14, and it's a full production, full band and everything. Then I did another one. I think we did another one like 2006. I recorded with N.C. Thurman, Terry on the bass, Chad Gamble, who plays with Jason Isbell now, on drums, and Bill Womelsdorf, who lives in Atlanta, playing harmonica. And Kirk wasn't on that when he was doing stuff with his band and Abstract Theory. And while I was in there, I did like 24 songs. So I put half of it out, and I got another one in the can. And I've done 1 or 2 acoustic projects. I got one called Once It Gets in Your Bones. It's just me on 3 or 4 different acoustic guitars on my old National and a 12-string and my Martin. And it's all kind of Delta blues. Well, it's Delta blues. This bottleneck slide especially on the National. That's my thing on it. I love that slide stuff. Okay.
And we ain't mentioned Pignose last night.
Yeah.
Do you ever play through it anymore? Or?
Well, I hadn't had one in a long time, but I remember first time I ever saw one, it was sitting on top of a 50-watt Fender Bassman under a 412 Marshall cabinet. And I thought, why in the world's he got that little bitty amp sitting up there on top of that big amp? Well, what he did is you plug into it and come out of it and go into the head of the other amp, and it preamps it and makes it distort, you know. Mm-hmm. Good practice amps, you know, you can walk around and play with them because it's battery operated and all that stuff. But a lot of people I knew back when I first saw them, they were using them for a preamp, you know, to drive the other amp with, so it wouldn't have to be so loud and they get a little more drive out of it. But yeah, I hadn't had one in a long time. Kirk had one time. We went to Memphis when he was like 9 or 10, and for Memphis in May, and he had a little Pignose amp and a Strat, and I had my old metal body, and we set up 3 different times that day on Beale Street playing, and he was wearing it out through that Pignose, and so it was handy for that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shut Beale Street down about 2 o'clock in the morning. Had it blocked off. That was fun.
Okay, we know you got a project. Any other future plans that you want us to know about?
Yeah, I'm trying to get out and do some festivals. I played the Handy Festival for the last 20-something years, and I want to do the just any of them really. You know, mainly blues-based festivals, folk festivals, like the Hot August Festival, where you know, I want to do that one. I want to do some shows. I'm tired of playing these bars and stuff. You know, I'd like to get out and really play for music fans instead of try to sell beer, you know, what I'm hoping to do.
Okay. And for the blues lovers that want to copy one of your projects, how do they get them?
Well, best way would be to contact me on Facebook, Maxwell Russell. I have a groups with my band, the Shakedown Kings. That's the name of the group. I'm easy to find on the internet. They can contact me and I'll mail them one direct. I don't have a distributor or anything. I'm kind of make them as I go right now. I think I got a few down at Pegasus Records, and seems like I got some at on some online thing. What was the name of that place?
iTunes.
iTunes, I think, yeah. And it was Amazon, yeah. I got one on Amazon.
Okay.
That's my Bottleneck Blues stuff. But I got four, you know, like I said, 4 albums. So if somebody wanted to hear some of it, just contact me. Also, you can go on to Reverb Nation, Maxwell Russell, Maxwell D. Russell, on Reverb Nation, and I've got all of them posted, and they're welcome to go there and listen to them, and you know, become a fan and all that stuff. And I keep up with my dates and everything on there, and on Facebook, mainly on Facebook. Hell, everybody's on Facebook now, so that's kind of like the new telephone.
No.
But I'm on the internet. I'm not hard to find.
Okay. For those young ones that's going into blues music right now, what advice you got for them?
Go back and listen to the masters. Go back and listen to the Sun House, Charlie Patton's, the Wolf, Muddy Waters. You know, Buddy Guy to me is probably one of the last surviving real blues men. Blind Mississippi Mars, you know, somebody like that. You know, even though Kent Duchesne, you know, he's great at what he does. He's a historian, and he's a, you know, fabulous musician, and you know, all these. I know a few people that they go listen to the newer blues acts, and a lot of people, they think they put a hat on and a Strat and they're Stevie Ray, you know, or something like that. And I'm not knocking them, but you know, it's kind of becomes watered down. There's nothing more disappointing to me than expecting to hear somebody play some blues, and then you listen to it for a minute and they're a heavy metal shredder, you know, burning up 12-bar scales, all they are. And they ain't got no passion or no soul, you know. You go back and listen to them old guys, and you know, they were struggling trying to play, and they really had what, you know, the blues feeling. It wasn't just the music, it was their heart and soul out there on the, you know, in front of you with their music. So you know, that's what it's all about, is in music in general, is, you know, bearing your soul to anybody that's listening, you know, blues or country or whatever. All of it goes back to the blues anyway, so might as well start where it started, and that's the Delta Blues. That's what I think.